This video is brought to you by A House on the Bayou. Buy it on digital today. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're discussing the haunted house subgenre and why we're both scared and intrigued by it. Haunted houses have been a horror staple since the genre's inception. It's become a whole subgenre of its own, and a thriving one at that. The house basically stars as a main character, but haunted house movies can be about more than just ghosts. The definition of the word haunt is quite broad. To visit often, sometimes spontaneously, to linger in one place, to cause harm. One can be haunted by past trauma, or even living people.
We're staying at this big old house on the water, in the middle of nowhere.
We all know how the story goes. People, usually a family, arrive and move into a house that's new to them.
It's Alex. Say hello to Mr. Harris.
Nice to meet you.
At first, things are fine, or even great, and the amazement and excitement drown out any ideas of danger. Then strange things start to happen. Unexplained noises, sudden changes in temperature, and characters begin to feel like they're not alone. The evil or ghostly source increasingly gets more violent and ultimately needs to be defeated. British geographer J. Appleton noted the two things we look for in a house: prospect and refuge.
Calling it an insomnia study allows me to create a highly suggestive environment to investigate the dynamics of fear.
Prospect means having the opportunity of a clear view of your surroundings, while refuge refers to shelter and protection.
What do you want?
Basically, we need to be able to see without being seen. These two features are derived from our basic human psychological needs. We also need to be somewhere easily recognizable, meaning a place where we won't get lost. Haunted houses lack legibility, prospect, and refuge, all three qualities needed for a, quote, optimal environment for human comfort. When we're faced with someone or something unfamiliar and confusing, we put our guard up.
Oh my.
People or places outside of what we perceive as normal are unpredictable. We don't know if this is a threat or not, and that ambiguity automatically makes us feel unsafe, setting off our creepy detectors. It's common to assess your surroundings, particularly when entering a new space.
Oh, this is so twisted. Seriously twisted.
We like to know if and how we'll be able to escape if we need to, or that we can call for help.
No one lives any nearer than town. No one will come any nearer than that. In the night. In the dark.
Spooky houses limit our chances of fleeing, whether it's a confusing layout, a series of obstacles, hedges, fences, locked doors, or something else entirely. So why do people in horror movies move into houses without prospect or refuge?
These are beautiful.
I know, I've seen them. It's a lot to dust.
Sometimes it's inherited, they're too cheap to pass up, or maybe a family moves there while the place undergoes renovations with the intention to flip and sell. Maybe a group of strangers signed up for an experiment, and they stay in the house because of money or work.
You don't tell the rats they're actually in a maze, Malcolm. Come on.
Sometimes they can't leave.
Why would he let us leave?
Most people have an idea of what a haunted house looks like. The unofficial blueprint is big, old, and dark.
Good night, Debbie. Good night. Scream if you need anything.
Victorian and Gothic houses, or mansions, have an inherently spooky aesthetic. This is how we envision the prototypical haunted house. It's filled with antique furniture, creepy art, like photos, portraits, and statues, perhaps covered in cobwebs or spiderwebs.
What a strange old house.
The floors creak and the wind rattles everything. It's usually drafty, with large open spaces. Maybe there are secret doors leading to hidden rooms and/or grand libraries with tall bookcases. All of these features indicate old age. The older the place, the more likely something bad happened there.
Are you aware that the Bramford had rather an unpleasant reputation around the turn of the century? It's where the Trench sisters conducted their little dietary experiments.
Another factor is a disturbing history.
1886, got it? That makes him 79 now. No coincidence.
If someone died there, we automatically think that the trauma is embedded in its walls.
There's a door in here.
If it was a violent death like murder or the taking of one's own life, then that is definitely a red flag. Also, watch out for who's living around it, or if there's anyone at all. The latter may be another red flag.
Hi there, I'm Isaac. I was just stopping to invite you and your family to dinner. We just brought the food over here to cook for you. It's just how we do things on the bayou. So, can we come in?
The most common reason for a house being haunted is due to a tragic event that previously occurred.
And Blackwood's only son vanished, lost. Not long after, Blackwood himself disappeared.
There's a tangible fear that the place is tainted. These types of sites are common settings for supernatural horror and horror in general, because we're confronted with death.
You can understand me.
The doors, Eleanor. Only the doors can hold him. Oh no! He's coming!
When it comes to the afterlife, the idea of a soul not passing over is commonly associated with feelings that it's malevolent and/or has unfinished business. Whether it's solving their own murder, sticking around to help a live person uncover the truth, or simply for revenge. If the spirits are trapped, they'll find ways to reach the living. Their presence typically makes the area suddenly cold or cause a rotting smell to pervade the room.
The cold, can you feel it? Now can you feel it?
They might announce their arrival by knocking things over, touching the living person, or even speaking, usually in whispers. If their goal is to harm the living person, things go up a notch. That's where the violence comes in. Ghosts will attack you when you're most vulnerable, like in the bathroom or while you're asleep. If there's something evil or cursed kept inside of a house, chances are that its presence affects the place. It could be an ancient artifact, a dead body or skeleton, a doll, or an actual creature. Once it's freed, either purposely or accidentally, all hell breaks loose.
You said you were hungry. Do you like raisins?
And if it's something that others can't see, you are left to deal with it yourself. Haunted house movies can also serve as psychological thrillers.
There's something evil in the house.
There's less gore and mayhem, but the results can be just as terrifying or deadly. There are times when films trick us into thinking a house is haunted by spirits or possessed by demons, when it's actually something else. Psychological factors such as hallucinations or delusions can be the cause of the strange happenings.
No, that's not me!
When the source of torment is a person, it's usually going into slasher territory. However, there's something even more haunting when you're the single target, because there's no madman going around killing for the fun of it. The terror becomes more personal and psychologically invasive, maybe more so than physical.
Now you know what happened to your sister.
Tell him, Alex.
Don't believe him.
She died.
No, don't believe him.
In the fire.
Questioning your own sanity is a horror all its own. Trying to get others to believe in the supernatural in the movies is pretty much an impossible task.
I didn't do anything,
Sally,
I swear.
stop lying.
Experiencing things and believing in the supernatural is isolating. These concerns are either laughed off or logically explained by friends or family, and or maybe even medical professionals and law enforcement.
There's no Toby, and there's no ghost.
Other times, they're just dismissed completely, with people saying that those who believe in such things are crazy. In some cases, the person or persons being asked for help knows what's happening, but continues to gaslight the other.
You have been in pain since November and he's not doing anything to help you?
He says it's gonna stop.
Women and children are more often the ones who experience these terrors, and are more susceptible to possession or haunting. A major source of fear is being attacked in the safety of your home.
So, can we come in?
Of course you can.
When your home becomes more of a prison than a refuge, that's another level of violation.
The devil is watching us all the time. Some of us invite him in, some don't.
Homes are the extensions of ourselves, and when they're infected or breached, it feels like trespassing on an intimate level.
Excuse me, could you please go downstairs? This way? Yes.
Sometimes the houses themselves are not haunted, but they come with some creepy and often intrusive neighbors. It's a form of invasion because the house or location still feels cursed in some way. You could even say it's haunted by the living. Our interest in haunted houses is similar to that in true crime. We watch to learn how to survive potential encounters, how to prepare ourselves, and how to avoid danger.
Can you tell me who you were talking to?
What was that?
There's something cathartic about being scared but ultimately feeling secure in the safety of your own home while watching someone else get terrorized in theirs. Sure, it puts us on edge and we jump at every sound we hear, but that's the fun of horror. This video is brought to you by A House on the Bayou. Buy it on digital today.